Problem solving is something that schools generally don't teach you.
No, I'm not on medication. I'm on weed though, and I feel hella good.
Welcome. I am dressed, but I have Albert Einstein hair, as my mentor said this morning. Welcome. It's not so bad. I have curly hair. Don't care. Didn't that used to be like a hashtag that everybody used to do on Instagram before they ruined it? Yeah, welcome. Phil just hopped up on the couch. So, you guys know I finished the one book that somebody freaked out in the comments over. I know who that really is. Anyway, so, been reading The Handmaid's Tale. Very good. On Reddit, the Testament subreddit is actually going to be going over this book and doing like a reading club. So that's exciting. So if you guys are on Reddit and you want to check that out, I think that's pretty cool. So I ordered some more books. I got 3 used books coming. I got them from the place I got my Theosophy book from. Where is that at? There it is. This book. I got it from a used bookstore online, and they had more. So I got Annie Bessette's, she has another book. And then I got they had a whole section on like, Jewish Kabbalicism, mysticism basically is what it was. And a lot of these used books were from before World War II. Now, a lot of stuff that had to do with Jewish folklore and mysticism or sorcery, stuff like that, after World War II kind of got buried, from what my mentor said, because of what the Nazis did and Schmittler did. And they were using all of this as propaganda when really it's, you know, the really dirty stuff that's happening, it's only a few families. And those families were actually helping to fund World War II because they wanted to create polarity. Because polarity is part of the plan. Where's the other book? This book, which is a book that the Theosophy Society used. This book came out right before the 1900s. So a lot of these books that have to do with mysticism, sorcery and stuff all came out in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then we start getting World War I, World War II, and that's when they start hiding a lot of this stuff. So in this book, they want to create polarity because polarity is one of the steps to bringing heaven to earth and joining the invisible world with the visible world. This is what this book tries to help us understand, is the invisible world. And whether you believe it or not, there are people who have billions of dollars like Leon Black. Leon Black, who is a part of BlackRock, who now owns, I think, part of the music that Taylor Swift made, you know, Shellback and, Max Martin and Shellback. It's like people can't say their names without the other one, and I can't remember one. Anyway, so their music, their portion of that music, they sold off. And it's owned by a private equity group, or an equity group that is owned by BlackRock, technically. And I think Vanguard or Vivendi. No, Vanguard. I think it's Vanguard. These are all the people we're going to start talking about, and we're going to start looking into their families, especially the Rothschilds, who, that's not their original last name. Did you know that? They changed their last name. Facts. The more you know, right? So 1900s was when all these people were into this stuff. And then as soon as wars broke out and stuff, all this stuff went bye-bye. We stopped talking about it. Ghosts and all that. That's not real. None of that's real. Don't look there. none of this stuff, this is just mysticism. But hey, if you want to sit around and manifest a purse, go for it. But don't use it for anything else. Don't use it to help build your inner self. Don't use it to help evolve your soul in any way. Let's not talk about any of that stuff. Light bodies are not real. Orbs are not real. None of that's real. Don't pay attention to it. But yet, these people were studying it. And these people were also getting together with the colony people, the elf colonies I talk about. So, this guy is one of the architects to helping build Zionism and Israel. This book I found on the, what's it called, where I got this book, the used bookstore. They had an old book on there for like $500. And I'm like, why is this old Jewish book $500 from 1900? And it's called A Treasure of Two Worlds. And I've never heard of it. And I heard the two worlds, right? And I basically told you there's another world that's been living right alongside of us. And no one's really known or paid attention to it because we've been brainwashed not to see it. Just like I said, there's another country. There's little countries living underground who don't play by the rest of the world's rules. And that's what I refer to as colonies. The elf colony, the ant colony. So the Theosophy Society and these people, they know about these colonies. They know about this shit. This book, I read part of it online, but the online free version of this book, that if you want to buy a used copy is over $500, $1,000, talks about how the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrews, always had electricity. That they always had electricity. This guy was part of the architect for helping build Israel. And then when they later on said that he was like a drunk and they tried to discredit a lot of his stuff and he was into mysticism and he was just a crazy drunk or whatever and had a bad, shitty reputation. But in here, he goes to talk about how Moses was really an electrician. So I'm going to be reading this book, but this book has actually been reprinted by the University of California Library System because so many people requested that they wanted it. So you can get it on Amazon, this book. It is The Treasure of Two Worlds, Unpublished Legends and Traditions, The Jewish Nation. Naphtali, Herz, Imber. I can't say it. You guys know. I'm probably going to get yelled at like I got yelled at for Hammurabi. I can say it now. Hammurabi. I got yelled at on the phone. Hammurabi. Hammurabi. Take the time to practice your pronunciations. Stop being lazy. Yeah. So yeah, this is a reprint. Thank you, California Library University System, for this. So yeah, I'm going to be reading it and taking notes. Like I've been taking notes out of the Code of Hammurabi. So the playlist, I have a bunch of stuff linked that is related to this book and this guy. Other stuff on Jewish mysticism. But a lot of this stuff that was printed in the early 1900s, they're trying to get rid of right now. I heard, and one of the reasons why I started buying older books was my mentor said that there is a company that is buying all these used books, and they're claiming that they're doing it and breaking apart the old books to scan them so that we can have a digital copy and then they'll just never go away. Well, if you look at the digital copy of some of those books, like this one, there are pages that are water damaged and that are bleached out. That's why I bought this copy, which was, I was showing you upside down, but that's why I bought this copy. Because there were pages on the online copy that were bleached out, and I'm like, why is that bleached out? What did you not want me to see? I have to see that now. We have to know. We have to know. We have to know. So, yeah, my mentor said there's a company and they're buying all these up And to scan them, they're like, we have to take apart the books so we can scan it, through the machine. Well, after they do that, they chuck the books and disintegrate them. They burn the books. So they control the digital copy of this book. So if they want to just pull one of those pages out that had some really interesting tidbit, like, where something could be buried that somebody else wants to go and get a hold of so that they have it and no one else does, like an antiquity. Like, these billionaires love to have old antiquities and share them off at their houses because they think it belongs to their, like, family lineage or whatever the fuck. Like, those people. Or they think it gives them control over some deity that's going to help them with their billion-dollar company. That's a thing. We could come up with tons of possibilities as to why somebody wanted to destroy a book. Say, this is the only copy online. Oops, I'm sorry, this one page was bleached out. Oh well, all the copies online are over $500 to $1,000, so only like a certain class of people with the extra money to buy used books that are over $1,000 can own that. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how fucked that is? They're trying to censor. They're not just like going, you can't learn that, we're going to burn this book. They're tricking us now. They're tricking us now into thinking that you're learning everything, but you're not, because what you're learning has been censored and sanitized. Which the Freemasons are the ones who help disseminate sanitation. One of the precursors to the World's Fair, which was started by the Freemasons, was like the sanitation fair.
Antiseptics, like the whole sanitation thing, Joseph Lister, 1895. Before antiseptics, there was no sanitation, especially in medicine.
You mean soap?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal mentioned that. In what's it called? Yeah, that movie. Right. So, that was the Freemasons help disseminating education from one of these colonies. Now, these colonies underground, they see themselves as fallen angels, hybrids. The new thing is aliens. Elf people was the common thing. There was elf people, and then there's different, vampires, werewolves. It's where we get Beowulf from. See, gnomes. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people is, the elf thing. So the elf thing comes from the fact that, and I talked about that, we were going to talk about Exodus, and I'll give you a little bit about Exodus right now, since we're talking about a lot of things, right, that are hidden. So Exodus, Moses took off in the desert, right? Back during the time of Exodus, you guys have heard Sodom and Gomorrah and how it just disintegrated, right? It just went boom, boom. Well, during this time, this was during a time when the gods would boom, boom a city when they got pissed off. Kind of like Hiroshima, right? The atomic weapon is actually an ancient spell. It was not, it wasn't something that was just discovered by Oppenheimer. It was a spell. There's a family out of New York with the last name Shiva. And they are the ones who gave Oppenheimer the spell, because Oppenheimer had a family member who was married into the Shiva family, and that's where he got the spell for the atomic bomb. That's why when everybody talks about Aleister Crowley and Satanism, I'm like, no. This is older shit. The Satanism is all new terminology, so you're brainwashed to look at all the Satanism stuff. The Satanism is like, they knew Christianity where you go on Sundays and listen to rock Christian. It's like that. It's old Babylonian civilization, old Babylonian religion, sorcery, Hebrew. A lot of the Hebrew stuff is been adopted The Hebrew mysticism was adopted from older Babylonian paganism stuff. Because at the end of the day, these people today believe they're conversing with a being who's invisible, who's on the other side. My neighbor's running the water. I can hear the pipes. Maybe it's one of those gods. Ain't getting in here. They're conversing. They think they are conversing with a being who is on the other side, who is in this invisible membrane. Think poltergeist, you know, how they go through the other side. They believe they're conversing. These gods with the little g are helping them with their businesses. And they will do certain things like a ritual to get this being to help them do things here. Mind blown, I know. Where was I going? It's a lot, isn't it? So yeah, so these people in these colonies, they're like these bloodline families that are out here in civilization. Like I said, some bloodline families, some people are a part of the bloodline and they just don't know. Like, I just didn't know. And I'm finding that out, and we'll be talking about it more. And why I was not vlogging for a while and switched to doing the other content was because I was finding out with Patrick that this is a part of me too. And I have to now worry about other people who might want to kidnap me and use me for nefarious purposes because of their fucked up ancient beliefs that I had no clue about, because they don't teach you these things. Because they don't teach us these things, so we don't know how to not look at it. So when somebody like Jeffrey Epstein comes along and says, I want to give a art scholarship to a teen girl, nobody is the wiser until she gets something happening to her. And then by then it's too late, because he's got too much money and knows too many people, and basically has his thumb on the state of New Mexico. We'll get into that. That's fucking... I remember something funny years ago about the state of New Mexico, because the governor, one of the former governors of New Mexico was going to North Korea with the former CEO of Google. And they were going to go try and convince North Korea that they were going to be behind and they needed to have Google help bring the internet to them. It was like business. They were trying to get North Korea to, you know, help, like, so they could get more business, so they can, you know, sell crap to North Koreans. You know, like, once you get so many people online, how do you get more people looking at ads online? Well, you got to make it so that they can listen to podcasts and crap during the day at work. How can you spread the internet more? Well, you got to get more ads and stuff. Well, you got the internet. You got to get it in places where people don't have the internet, so you can get these people online so they can start looking at ads and consuming. So it's a whole, like, we're not thinking of that here because we're just thinking about selling ads to, like, people like me and you. But yeah, so that was something funny too. And when that CEO, Eric Schmidt, came back, he went with his daughter to North Korea. When they came back, she went off on how shitty North Korea was and how shitty their trip was and how they treat their people like shit there. And then she died of a mysterious illness. And Eric Schmidt, his whole thing for us having AI is, because it'll solve so many health problems and shit. I don't know. Just, they're erasing our history for a reason. Why? Why? Because they don't want us to know certain things. So we can't educate ourselves, so we can't look out for it. So I'm going to be reading this book today. Underlining some stuff. Maybe we can work on some art. I've been working on a picture. Let me do the Peter Mon thing. Hold on. I'm talking a lot today, I know. So I've been working on a picture for a new t-shirt design. So This is what I got so far. I want to add more to it. So it's going to be yellow. And it says, Weapons of Mass Wisdom. Join the fight on ignorance and read. So it's a book with an atomic boom boom coming out of it. What do you think? That's it so far. I'm still working on it. Because I think I want to add, like caution extreme knowledge. And then, like, the little mermaid sign, my little mermaid logo at the front. So there's, like, I don't know. I like having a lot encoded into these designs on the shirts. So I was thinking yellow on, like, red would be cool. So it's like, bam! Because those colors say immediate. And I wanted, like, a red shirt with, like, some yellow on it. I don't know. I just, something I thought about. So, yeah. Reading, that's what's going on today. I got coffee for my reading. And we'll check in later on YouTube and see what's going on in the, what is it, the zeitgeist? Because that's important. It's important to know what's going on in the world and keeping up on your news and shit. Being chronically online is ableist to say. Remember that. It's ableist to say that. Because some of us, this is how we get our interaction. I'm getting it from old books.
And you are numb to it. The electric age is changing you.
And actually, if this
It is
game
changing your
is
family.
true, this will be the fourth consecutive game in this World Cup. Mexico is not allowed a goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to the evening. I've been reading my book. This is an evening thing I do. I'll go around the house with my incense and I smoke out the place and get all the bad juju out. We have a spot in our room where we keep our ashes for, you know, Mr. Frank's. They're two of our other pets and family and stuff. And so we'll go over there and say thank you to them for sharing a great life with me, sharing memories, all the things that my ancestors did before me, people who come after me, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? So I just go around the house. And then, too, if I'm having a really bad day or not feeling good, I will write down, Chi-Chi taught me this, she goes, write down your feelings, write down who you're mad at or whatever, burn it, and send it to the other side. Let God take care of the rest. So, yes, I'll put it up here. I have a little statue up here. Little 3D printed statue. Chi-Chi had me get of a strong sorcerer woman with her lion goals. So anyways, what have I been reading? So this is a very interesting book. Let's go over some of the few things. Let me make sure I have my place marked. I had a little paper. Oh. Okay, good. So, in this guy was a pro-Zionist before the state of Israel was created. And what's funny is that even though he wrote their, like, national anthem, at the end of his life, they portrayed him as a drunk. So, reading this, I think I know why. He spilled a lot of juicy tea in here about the Jews, the Hebrews, having electricity before everybody else did. And he points out stories from the Talmud. And he points out how when Moses, there was parts where Moses was going through the desert, and that the two pillars of light actually were probably like floodlights or searchlights. And the way they're described, if you think about it, it sounds like electricity. What was interesting also, let me go to my first marker. Okay. He goes in to talk a little bit about Freemasonry. Now, this guy, not a fan of Madame Blavatsky, which is, I thought was interesting. This book came out around the same time that Theosophy Society and Madame Blavatsky came out. Now, this guy said that basically a lot of the stuff that the Theosophy Society was teaching was old Hebrew, mystical, Kabbalistic, another word I need to learn to pronounce, Kabbalistic and mysticism. And that a lot of it, what she was saying, it was Buddhism. I don't think this guy was really fluent in Buddhism. He just knew about Hebrew, being a, Hebrews and Hebrewism and stuff, and Judaism. I think that's what he knew. And there is a lot of crossovers between the two. Like in here, in Kabbalistic and the Kabbalists, they believed in reincarnation. Reincarnation was in here. So in here, they talk about how the 32 degrees, now there's 33 degrees in Freemasonry. The 33rd is honorary. So like, say like the astronauts, Neil Armstrong and them, they all got to be 33rd degree Masons because they will see you doing certain things as your ritual. So like I said, like doing a music video. So like Taylor Swift is carting around Somber. You're carting around Somber right now, Brother Taylor, and you gave him that little clover because that's her person that she's bringing up. That's her, you know, it's like an MLM. You have to bring in people. Him wearing that 22, that's the life path number. 22 is a life path number. It corresponds with the tree of life in Kabbalah. That's where that comes from. I'm feeling 22. It's also to signal that you got to your 22nd degree or whatever. Like I said, once you get to some of these levels, you start being shot up real fast. And so that's part of why she's carting him around. I think Olivia Rodrigo was supposed to be like her, person, but that like got messed up. And it's funny how like in Olivia Rodrigo's Apple interview, how the guy said it was great that she didn't stick to any kind of dogmas when making her albums. Yeah. And we'll talk about Geffen, too, that label, because they can get it as well, just like Republic can get it, right? Hey, Republic Records, why are you guys so obsessed with my family? I've been talking to some of my cousins again. Why are you guys so obsessed with my family? It's fucking weird at this point. And I know you guys are involved with the CIA. It's not funny at this point. They just had MK Ultra hearings. Returning to my book. So the 32 degrees correspond with the 32 paths of wisdom. Okay? So that's where that comes from. So like I said, Freemasonry is like taking what they liked from Kabbalism, from Hinduism, the secrets, the cool shit, kind of regurgitating, and so it can be like it's an allegory for how you can find your inner self. Yes, but also no. Because if you're one of these bloodlines, you tapping into your inner self means a whole lot more than other people. And if you're someone who's drawn to this type of shit, you probably are somebody, and we'll get into that. The whole, you hit the base of your spine and the kundalini goes up your spine, or they show the snake and it hits they say pineal gland. It's pituitary gland, and then it activates the pineal gland because of the hormones and shit, but I only know that because apparently I've been through this process. It's not very enlightening. It's actually got more questions than answers, but I have really cool dreams now. Kind of guess at some things. Maybe I should get a Polymarket account. I don't know. Anyway, so we move on. So he didn't like Madame Blavatsky at all. So it goes in to talk about the Mahatmas. I can say it. Yay! I'm not completely illiterate. So, and how they're of a special bloodline, and that these people are actually governed by these 32 masters. That was what was interesting. And how you don't really get to know about, like, it's like having a handler. It's really weird. Let me see. Yeah, it talks about here how these rabbis, these Mahatmas, who can actually travel in their use their astral bodies to travel and go to sleep. And it says, at this time, he flies in spirit throughout invisible spheres and is perfectly conscious of what he sees and hears. When his soul returns to his body, his abode in human body, they also remember what they did in their former lives throughout the run of the ages, and so they even remember past lives as well. These Mahatmas, can't say that word, but Mahatmas, which, here's something else I learned, is they actually don't call these people Mahatmas. Have you ever heard the term good Jew? Apparently, that is a secret way, or was a secret way back in the day. They probably just, a lot of people interchange it now. Mahatmas. That's what that meant. And it was a secret way of going, well, he's a good Jew. It was a way to say he's actually a special person from a special bloodline. And so it goes on in here to talk about how there's these 36 masters who will mingle together all of their knowledge and stuff. And they kind of protect these Mahatmas and give them, like, knowledge and stuff, but in a secretive way, which is really weird. The Mahatmas themselves are under the guardianship of the 36 masters, whose mission is to guard the truth. The masters possess greater power than the Mahatmas and are settled in all directions. So they have colonies in all places. Think about that. The masters possess greater power than the Mahatmas and are settled in all directions and amid the various stations of human activity, one pursuing one occupation, another being a differently employed. All ranks in society, from the highest to the most ordinary, are represented in their members. And yet they move among the masses unrecognized in their official dignity, as only a few of the Mahatmas are made aware of their secret. If by some chance one becomes recognized, death or disappearance settles the matter, so far as he is concerned. The full number is preserved in every generation. What the fuck? So, it's saying that there's these 36 masters in here. This is from the late 1800s, guys. And it's saying there's these 36 masters. And they live all over the place, all over the world. And some of them are in governments. Some of them are just basic ass janitors. Some of them are nobodies like me. And their job is to guard this special priest class of Mahamaz who have these special psychic abilities to astral travel. Like I've said, you know, messing with people in their dreams is accepted. Being able to read people's minds, accepted. Being able to influence people with your energies from far away, accepted. And so this special priest class had these special psychic powers, and therefore there was a master, a group of masters of 36 masters who would guard them. Doesn't that sound like angels? Guardian angels, right? 36 masters. And he goes in to say how he wishes that Madame Blavatsky had mentioned this part in her books. Focus, camera. But anyways, so yeah. That was one of the more interesting things. It goes on to talk about the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy of Holies, and how it was probably an electrical box of some kind. It goes in to talk about a story. This is interesting. About... where is it? Nadab and Abihu in the Bible. How they were... it's in Leviticus. And it talks about how these two men went into the Holy of Holies, but they were drunk. And they forgot the right procedures. And because they were drunk, they ended up electrocuted and died. And they said, it doesn't say electrocuted, but the way it describes it, this guy thinks they were electrocuted by something in there. And then afterwards, you weren't allowed to go drunk into the Holy of Holies anymore. Doesn't that sound like don't operate heavy machinery while you're intoxicated? Kind of to me. So I'm going to continue reading. It's very interesting. He points out a lot of stuff from the Talmud as well, which I was wondering if maybe that's why this book is like discontinued and hard to find and stuff, is that he points out a lot of shit from the Talmud that he's like, this means this. This means that. This means it was electricity. And I'm like, what? It also mentions how the scapegoat that was sacrificed, that the Holy of Holies was actually sacrificed for an angel named Azazel. Did you know that? That the fall, that they say this is Satan. You know how they say Satan fell to earth and said no at the time of creation and said fuck it to God, and you know, this is why we have sin and all this crap? This is what they named it in the Talmud. They name this fallen angel as Azozel, but online it's Azozal. And this fallen angel was what rebelled against God. And this is who they make the scapegoat sacrifice for on the Day of Atonement in the Holy of Holies, is for this person, this whatever this entity was. Focus on it. Who is this? And they do say it. This person's this entity, this fallen angel, is mentioned in the Bible. Where is this? What is this? We're going to be learning about that more. And this is actually one of those Kabbalistic angels, I think, that people will write sigils to and conjure up in here. See how I'm telling you it's not Satanism, because then you're thinking Satan, right? You're not using the right name for the fallen angel who's responsible for all of this, technically. You see what I'm saying? You don't know. So now you don't know that people are making a sigil out of this crap and sticking it places. Because you just think, oh, this is just, you know, oh, Satanism. Eh. No, this is actually serious. This is something that came from the Holy of Holies that, you know, isn't there anymore. And, you know, this name's in the Talmud, and, you know, it's only mentioned in certain parts of the Bible, not all parts of the Bible. And that's why I said it's not Satanism. It's not Satanism. It's not Luciferianism. You need to go back to original sources, and you need to read their names. There's a reason why they don't want you to know the names of these gods or angels or entities, because there's power in knowing their name. Because when you know their name, you can summons them, you can bind them, and you can do stuff to them with, you know, things that are in sigils and shit and smoke and stuff. And if you are a billionaire who believes you're using this and you're making billions of dollars, you're not going to want anybody else knowing how to summons that thing. Especially when it's the thing that has to do with one of the most powerful things, books, the Bible. I'd show my Bible here. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they want to hide that from you. There's a reason why they want to make this book $500 used. So, you don't know because it's just too expensive, so, whatever. It's just an old book, whatever. Read old books. It's important. I'm going to keep reading my old book.
Greater than that of the normal human environment pre-electric. And there's only one natural response to such
I wanted to point
overload,
this out
and that
here.
is
You know,
pattern
this
recognition.
happened 2 years ago.
The dangers are total.
This music video that says July 9th. Some fucking timestamp in the morning. I don't know where the fuck. It could be East Coast time. Could be Midwest time. I don't fucking know. Whatever. What is this? What is this? What is this shit, Brother Taylor? Huh? Huh? So, I got sucked into reading my book last night. Whoa. Which, not a surprise, right? Ugh. So, I need to end the vlog, but I wanted to go through. They mention a rabbi in here, and his middle name is Baal. B-A-A-L. Baal. I told you. Baal does not mean, like, it's not just one god. Now, nowadays, it's to refer to one god. I think it's, I can't remember that god's Enlil. I get all the Babylonian gods mixed up because it's so kind of fresh to me. I'll probably have my mentor yelling at me later. Here we go. Rabbi Mary Baal Hands. Right there. This book is free online. Treasure of Two Worlds. By this guy, who also wrote the Zionist national song. And then afterwards, they were just like, yeah, he's a drunk. Just void everything else he wrote about. But, and all of his philosophies, just forget that. Only pay attention to the song we use for the National Zionist Party. Just pay attention to that. Forget all the other stuff. No big. So, and you can get the reprint if you want to go digging around. My mentor, he's going to get a copy, actually. I was like, I can send it to you when I'm done with my notes. And he's like, no, I get my own. He has a giant on his desk. He has this giant, like a clamp, one of those clamp things. And it's like a giant magnifying glass with a light on it. And he puts it over the book, and it magnifies like one sentence, like huge. Like, and then like he has on his, when he reads on the computer, I swear, he has two screens, two monitors, but one of the monitors, he is basically what he uses. And it's all blown up, so when he's reading, it's just like one sentence on this like giant fucking screen. You see our TV? It's like that. No. It's a little bit smaller than that. Yeah, it's smaller than that. You know, like, it's a big computer screen. And, like, it's like one sentence. And he's, like, scrolling, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no. And it's giving me a fucking migraine, and I'm like, just no. Like, this is... is it really worth reading at almost 100 if you have to have it blown up and you can only read like one sentence at a fucking time? Like, he's got magnifying glasses and shit, so when he's like in the bed or in his like chair sometimes, but like a lot of times he reads at the desk so he can use this big ass clamp thing, and it's ridiculous. It's like, I mean, I guess when you get to that age, like, it doesn't matter what glasses or they do for your eyesight, you're just fucked, you know, some of this, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that. But I thought this is just interesting. And then the whole, how they point out that Madame Blavatsky left out that the Mahas, which I put some videos so you can hear people pronounce this word better, because like it's another word I can't pronounce, but says that, you know, she makes it seem like they were just these. She called them also adepts, and she made it sound like it was just these Mahamas, and that was it. Well, it turns out there's also these masters who take care of these Mahamas. You see? It's like there's a piece of the puzzle that was missing, and maybe hiding this book was a way to hide that little puzzle piece. I don't know. And then also, too, it naming out this Azazel angel. This being the fallen angel that rebelled against God at the time of creation. You know, they always tell you it's Lucifer. It's Satan. No, it's not Satan, guys. That's why I told you. It's not Satan. You got to get it out of your head. They have names. They just don't want you to know their real names. So then they can hide this and put it in another book. Like, I was looking through this book. I haven't been able to find it yet, but they'll list all these angels in here, right? So, yeah. And the Kabbalah, So it's like, yeah. So I'm gonna edit this video so I can get it uploaded. Interesting book. Books they don't want you to read. Why they don't want you to read this book? Because it tells you electricity, it's not new. Just like my mentor told me, he says that planes are not new. That people used to see flying crosses in the sky in the Middle Ages because planes are not new. They're just new to us. That the Wright brothers were given this technology to then disseminate to us. That's a conspiracy theory. Yeah. We can get into that. Flying machines, because flying machines they're not new. They've been around for hundreds of years. It's just they're commercialized now so that they can sell it as technology to all these other people and make money off of it. The more you know, right? So, if I remember, I will link this book, the free PDF, in the description. But remember, it's Treasures of Two Worlds by this guy. Yeah, I'm not even that far into it, but it's pretty good. And I'm still reading my Handmaid's Tale. That's good. I'm excited about the Reddit group, so yeah. The more you know, the more you know. So yeah, as always, I'm sending you guys lots of love. And all these stars are yours because I gave them to you. Because we don't need to be billionaires to have all the stars, right? Right? Right?
Problem solving is something that schools generally don't teach you. You know, a lot of people don't have a good generalized approach to problem solving. They're not thorough, don't consider all the possibilities, prepare themselves with the right information. If you can develop a kind of generalized approach to problem solving, it's surprising how it helps you in anything.
I don't think. I know.
Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.